Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Cycles podcast with me, your girl, Diambo, Kisumu City. My name is Maeve Cheryl, and you're tuning into the 9th episode of the Cycles podcast. And as you can see today, I believe I can fly. Anyway, I'm so pleased to announce that so far, the Cycles podcast has reached 2,000 audio plays, and we're just 4 months in. That's a very huge step for my baby, and I'm so happy. Thank you to all of you who have been tuning in. Thank you to all of you who have been listening. Thank you to all of you who have been sending in encouragement. But before we get into this episode, I'd like you to subscribe to this channel, and your 3 seconds start now. Done? Thank you so much for that. So on this particular episode, I'd like to talk about the things I'm learning so far in my 20s. I'm not too late into my 20s. I just started. I'm not too late into my 20s, but so far there's some valuable lessons that I think someone who might be younger, who might be heading into their 20s might find useful as they proceed. So I'll get right into that. That's it. That's the point of discussion for today. So the first lesson I've learned in my 20s is that the pressure is getting worse. It is getting worse in all fronts, where as you grow now, you're transitioning as a young person, you're transitioning from childhood to adulthood, and a lot of things you have to now do a lot of things by your own. You have to learn lessons by your own, like you're no longer under your parents' shield and all those things. So the pressure comes from it comes from very, very many sources. But the number one source of pressure, I think, for young people is social media. I think it's a first point where we all lose our stuff because, number one, we come onto social media and we see others that are in their 20s equally doing better or doing way more than we expected that they would be doing. And then you start comparing and you start feeling sijui nini. Or you see your friend there amepelekwa Maldives, or you see girls who are being taken to Maldives by people, and you start feeling like, oh my God, what don't you have? Na sasa you think, mtu mnasema ni matako yake mempeleka Maldives, pia wewe uko hapo, you have your own, as a lot of all these things, and you start thinking, kwani hizi zako zenye umebeba. I'm not saying you be taken to Maldives because of your bam, no, but you do agree that these are some of the points where we start to compare ourselves. And the second lesson that I'm learning in my 20s is that friendships are hard to maintain, and that you should also, let me start first with the first point, that friendships are hard to maintain. It's just that I feel like when we were younger, we didn't have so much on our plates. All we had to do was finish your homework and step out and play with your friends. But right now, it's responsibilities upon responsibilities. Is you realizing that now you're an individual who has their own thoughts, and you have your own dreams, and you have your own processes that you should follow. And it's no longer just you drop your bag in the house, you remove your uniform, you finish your nini, and then you go out and play. So it's really hard for friends to keep abreast with each other, and it's really hard for friends to keep in touch even. So friendships right now you have to be extremely intentional with maintaining them. The other lesson I'm learning with regard to friendship is that you should compartmentalize your friends. There's no need to kill yourself over the fact that Atinani is your friend, but she can't show up for you during troubled times and all those things. It's because, number one, you don't understand the purpose or the role that different people play in your life. They don't all play the same role. Kuna friends, as much as we don't want to admit it, kuna friends wa kupati, kuna friends wa kusaidiana kwa masomo, kuna friends wa formations, higher exam, and all those things. The mistake a lot of us make is that we put all those expectations into one person or a particular group of people. Well, the best way to approach such or to avoid heartbreak is to just minimize your expectation. And also, as far as you have related, you already can tell what type of person someone is, and then you know how to put them in their place. And that way, you reduce your chances of getting pressure. The third lesson I've learned is that heartbreak is not so bad. You see, the way when you're experiencing heartbreak, you think that's the end of the world. You can't breathe, you can't eat, you just want to sleep. You feel like you're useless and all those things. I've come to realize that sometimes it's not really a bad thing. And when you look at the stories of everyone who has undergone something that they thought would ruin them, they've come out on the other side extremely thriving. They've come out on the other side successful and all those things. For me, with this point, I feel like heartbreak. Yeah, heartbreak is like a, what do they call it? Like to your chemistry tulikuwa tunaita yenye na speed up catalyst. Heartbreak is a catalyst to a lot of things, and it's only when you're in darkness that you can see light. I know that's such a cliche comment or such a cliche statement, but it's true. I've seen it. When push comes to shove, when your only option is to survive the day, when your only option is to make it through the days, you unleash a level that you never knew existed within you. And so don't run out the heartbreaks that you've suffered. And the good thing is that what hurts now will not hurt 2 months later, will not hurt 3 months later, and all those things. And another thing is that you probably don't even need that relationship if your heartbreak is stemming from maybe a boy who broke your heart or a girl who broke your heart. If you dig deep, you probably are better off without that relationship. And the other thing in line with that is that the person you're with is probably not the one. So you might just want to reduce the pressure, especially. And I'm not telling you as if I'm not removing myself out of the situations. The things I'm sharing with you are things that I have experienced personally, and I have done my best to kind of shift my mindset about them. So one of the things that I do a lot is to think that the person I'm seeing at the time is the one, that we're going to have babies, that we're going to raise a family together, that we're going to work hard and build an empire together. Girl, stop. Boy, stop. They're not necessarily the one. So enjoy every moment as it comes. And heartbreaks are not such a bad thing. So be open. The other thing I've learned in my 20s is to listen to your gut. I think that's one of the best things God gave us. Like that sixth instinct that you have, I think is a superpower that we all have. But the thing is, a lot of us don't know how to tap into it. And even for me, I think I started listening to my gut just recently when I realized, when you're young, it's like you're in a bubble. You're in a bubble and you believe certain things to be true and you believe all things to be beautiful. And, even before that first heartbreak, you think love is such a beautiful concept in your head. It's just butterflies and sunflowers and all those things you see in movies. So the moment that bubble is busted, you learn to listen to your instincts, and you learn to tap into your intuition whenever it's telling you something. So your gut could be telling you things about a person and you downplay it and you ignore it, and then a few days later, a few weeks in, it proves to be true. Your gut could also be telling you something about maybe a job role. This one is hard, where you are desperate for a job and all those things, and then the moment you apply or you meet the people you're going to work with, your gut starts screaming and yelling how this is not the opportunity for you and all those things, but you still want to ignore it. And then later on you burn. I feel like, especially, I don't know, I don't want to invoke prayer, but if you do pray, your instincts are your superpower. So just utilize them to your advantage. And in line with this also is just the aspect of due diligence. Due diligence in every corner of your life. If you're applying for a job, make sure you know what type of company you're applying to. Make sure you know the business models and everything. And then number 2, due diligence. If you're looking to get into a relationship, who are you getting into a relationship with? People say they do internet searches, and I feel like that could save you a lot of things. You could find out stuff that this person would hide just so that they can be quote unquote good before your eyes and all those things. So listen to your gut and exercise due diligence. Find out stuff. Don't just get into things and blindly. The other lesson I'm learning is that we are not all brought up the same way. We all come from different backgrounds. I think that's true for everybody. And also, yeah, our realities are very different. So you cannot expect the next person to maybe resolve conflicts in the same way that you do. You do not expect someone to approach love in the same way that you do, because again, some people didn't come from families where love was served, so also you don't expect someone to approach like money issues the way you do, because some of us come from very well-off families, some of us don't come from very well-off families. So don't expect yourself in other people. And I think again that saves you a lot of heartbreak, saves you when you don't expect yourself in another person. So just understand that we all come from different contextual realities, and that the way you approach a specific issue is not necessarily the same way someone else will approach an issue. The other lesson I'm learning and I'm really, really, really appreciating is to let things flow. Letting things flow means that if something is working, let it. If something is not working, leave it. Honestly, just walk away. When you operate from a point of letting things take their natural course, you avoid a lot of stress. You avoid a lot of stress. You avoid a lot of trying to control the narrative or trying to control the outcome. And for me, I really genuinely feel like a lot of life is already preordained. I feel like a lot of things are already written. Like your tomorrow is already sorted. So if you spend time struggling or stressing about what's gonna happen, nini, I don't know. Just let things flow. Just let things flow. And to follow that up, I think the other lesson I'm learning is to understand the concept of time and seasons, where as a person, you're clearly evolving. The way remember, if you go back to the episode I talked about friendships, where I told you I look at my life in blocks, where there's there's childhood, there's adolescence, and then there's adulthood. And I think it's just the same way. There's the way where you're fresh from uni. There's a phase where you have to tarmac or not if you're lucky, and then there's a phase where you may be broke, and there's a phase where money will not be an issue, and all those things. So it's just the same thing. Once you let time do its thing, not at you're seated letting time do its thing, because girl, time is going to catch up and you'll tashanga. But it's just that if at all you're putting in effort, just relax and have faith, knowing that time will sort things out for you, and that maybe you're in a particular season where maybe you have to learn some lessons, especially if you're going through, I don't know why life lessons come in a negative way, but because that's the way things are. When you find yourself in a not so pleasant situation, understand that maybe it is the season where the lessons have to be learned, and that in no time you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You don't need to kill yourself. And then the other lesson I'm learning is that mindset is very important. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, mindset is very important. And this thing I'm seeing, because for a very long time, I had been approaching life from a scarcity mentality. What a scarcity mentality is basically you thinking, I'll use this example a lot because I think it's one of the things we can relate to, Sana, because one is maybe when a relationship is dead and you have to walk away from it. But you can't walk away because you're thinking, if I leave, where am I going to get a boy like this? If I leave, where will I find someone to treat me as well as they did? All those things. And that is in itself is scarcity mentality, where even if your job, okay, I might be talking from a point of privilege with this point, but your job could also be something that's completely stressing you out. Your job is a toxic environment and all those things, and you can't leave because you are afraid there's nowhere else you'll qualify to join, or there's no other door that's going to open for you. So I feel like the moment you operate from a scarcity mentality, you will never take steps to change your life. You'll never take steps to implement the necessary changes that need to be implemented. So your mindset is very important. So always think in abundance, even when you don't see it, even when you wanataka faith as small as a mustard seed. I've seen a mustard seed today on Twitter, and it's completely tiny, and I don't know how crazy. It's crazy because it's so tiny, but it's also very hard to have as faith as much as that. But here I am telling you to just switch your mindset for a bit, try it even for like a few weeks and stuff, and you will see that you really do attract what you think about. And then the other lesson that I'm learning now is to be open to new experience. Let me tell you a fun fact. I have been in the house for over, I'm 23 now. I'm not going to hide my age. I'm 23 now. And I've been in the house for 22 good years of my life where I wasn't going out. I wasn't just stepping out of the house to meet people. Even at Nini drinking alcohol, even tasting and all those things. I wasn't doing that. And then when the tragedy struck last year, and then I realized how fickle life is, and like a switch just flipped for me, and I realized I have not actually been living. I have not been, because it's not that those opportunities weren't there. It's just that I used to find excuses not to do things. I used to find excuses not to put myself out there, and also just the people I was surrounding myself with like a tiny countable number of people who, that was just my environment. But now I'm realizing that I need to be open to making new friends. I need to be open to new experiences. I need to be open to experiencing that Friday night life, how it is, that Saturday night out, how it is, and all those things. And so far, so good. A lot has changed. A lot has changed with regards to how the people I'm meeting, even the way they're opening my mind, the way I see life from other people's views and all those things. So as a young person, honestly, what they say about when you're young, do the things that you're supposed to do when you're young, do them. I'm not telling you to overdo. I'm not telling you to drink alcohol if you don't want to drink alcohol. I'm not telling you to do drugs, because again, with new experiences or with new whatever comes responsibility. So do it, but do it in moderation. Know what works for you, know what doesn't work for you, and then you'll be good. And then the other thing I'm learning is that not everyone is going to like you, and that's completely fine. I don't know. As human beings, innately, there's usually like an innate desire for you to be besties with almost everyone, or for you to be liked or appreciated or seen by everyone. But I'm walking into spaces and I'm meeting people from all walks of life, and I'm realizing that not everyone is going to be a fan of you, and not a fan in terms of they worship you and all this. They're just not going to like you. And this could be fueled by so many things that are even way, way beyond your control. So someone could not like you because you're prettier. Someone will not like you because the guy they want likes you. Someone's not going to like you because you are outgoing than they are. And all those things honestly have nothing to do with you. So don't take it personal when someone doesn't like you. And unless they come to address a specific issue with you, then it's one-sided beef and it's not necessary. And then the other thing I am learning is to listen to your parents. There's this video I did with my mom about cheating and all those things. And the outrage that was in the comment sections throughout were just insane. And a lot of people are like, this mother is misleading and all those things. And I explained it. Number one, I said we need to understand that we come from different realities. There's a reality that our parents were brought up in that has shaped who they are even now. And as you have realized and as you have seen, it's very hard to take them out of that mentality. It's really hard to undo years and years of socialization. And then even now, there's some things that, okay, obviously times have changed, and there's some things that maybe they did then that don't work now. But 99% of the time, our parents are not wrong, honestly. They're not wrong in maybe the advice that they give you, but because you're a blooming adult, you might think, you know better and all those things. So regardless of how old you get, if you're lucky to have your parents around, if you're lucky to have parents who can sit you down and talk to you about something, then you have to listen to them. I really think listening to our parents is, I feel like they are, what do they say? They say God couldn't be with us personally, or God couldn't come down to us personally, so he gave them to us. I genuinely believe in that statement. The other thing I'm learning is that blind loyalty is a no. Absolute no, no, no. Don't just be at because you are friends from primary and high school and now, and you don't even align, but you're just being loyal to them because, tumetoka mbali and all that stuff. You can talk mbali with someone, but at the end of the day, you're not adding value to each other's lives. At the end of the day, you've outgrown each other, and the things that used to make you guys stick are the things that brought you together and not the same things keeping you together. So you don't have to be stuck around a group of friends who you don't see eye to eye about stuffs, a group of friends who don't inspire you anymore and all those things. You don't even have to stay in a relationship because because you've been through a lot with somebody. I think this is the mentality that gets you stuck in an abusive relationship where you see, and I see these quotes all over where they say that love is not even important, loyalty is the thing, and all those things. So you could be staying in a situation with someone you don't even love, but because of loyalty, you're staying in a situation and that's not doing any good for you. So you can be loyal, by all means be loyal, but do not be loyal to the extent that you're betraying yourself. Don't be blindly loyal to people or to things. The other lesson I'm learning is that not everybody who says they love you actually do love you. So someone can be swearing and screaming from the top of their lungs how they love you and all those things every day. I love you, I love you, I love you. I mean, we know that it's love. I think the cheat code to this is to check people's actions, because words can come, and some people are extremely good at talking. Some people are extremely good at saying stuff, and they're almost believable. I think the best thing that I'm learning to look at now is actions. So someone could be telling me all the things they want to say in the world, but if the actions are completely opposite, then I'm not staying any second longer. And then the other thing I'm learning, this one is hatari. From one oversharer to the other oversharer, to keep things to yourself. And this is something I'm seeing even with my friend groups and stuff, where genuinely that's where I am. Like if we're talking about something, I feel like I say a lot, even when I meet somebody and when we're having a conversation, I tend to reveal a lot of stuff. And I've realized it's actually not good because, one, I think I watched something that made me think, I remember, it's Young Africa, famous. I watched Nani, what's the name of this woman? Two-Face Idibia's wife, Annie. Yeah, I watched her, and they were meeting. They had the first episode where they were meeting each other and everything. And on the first episode, this lady meets these people and she just starts breaking down on the table. And I was like, wow. That's how it usually looks when you've just met people and you're pouring your heart out. And then the thing that struck me again is what Kanye said. She said that the way she's poured out herself in the first instance, she's given out power to Kanye now, because now she understands how she works, she understands how she operates, she understands her weaknesses. And honestly, this world is ruthless. So if you're an oversharer, if you're an empath and all those things, keep some information to yourself. Don't tell everyone everything. And also from a point of having to share things with people, your friends, and then they don't give you the same in return. I'm usually asking myself, what is it that what is it that has clicked in their head about sharing stuff that they don't? Yenye mi kwangu haija click. So these days, I try as much as possible to regulate, even if it's something good happening in your life. If you want to keep it to yourself, by all means do. Don't be blackmailed by people telling you, Ati, this is happening to you and you couldn't tell me and all those things. But again, if you're friends, I really do expect an extent of sharing. You can't be my friend and maybe you're traveling, let's say to maybe South Africa in a few days, and then you don't tell me anything until the day of. I don't know what that, it feels like you thought if you tell me I will block your, I don't know. This is like a whole topic that needs to be unpacked, that oversharing thing. But until we unpack it, keep some stuff to yourself. And then the other thing I am learning is that this is more or less like a conspiracy theory. And I think it helps me approach life effectively, quote unquote. So far, it's working for me. That's why I said effectively. And my conspiracy theory is that we're all pawns. It's like life is like chess. And then God or whichever supernatural power you believe in, is the one pulling the moves. So sometimes he needs to pull crazy moves so that the game can continue. Sometimes he needs to get rid of get rid of pieces so that the game can continue or that a certain game can end, So generally, I feel that's just how I feel. And I can tie this point to the point of understanding seasons and time and all those things. So in life, nothing goes for nothing. I feel like for everything that life takes, it gives back twofold, sometimes even tenfold. And for something that life gives, yeah, it's give and take. Something that it takes, it gives back. So if you're there, you've lost your job, I'm sure another blessing is coming to you. It could be now you will venture into your own job. If someone has died in your family, or if you're battling grief and all those things, God will replace that pain twofold, So take life in stride. And as you go into your 20s, regulate how, especially at this point on pressure, regulate how you view yourself, regulate how you view other people's lives. This just basically goes to regulate how you use social media. And then you can, instead of using social media to give you pressure, you can leverage it to your advantage, where if you are gifted in a field, if you're gifted in dancing, if you're gifted in drawing, use it. Draw, post your process, post your dancing, post your covers, post your everything. You never know who is watching. So as you approach your 20s, just be kind to yourself. Remember that this is a process, and you were never here before. So everything is new. All of us are learning. Some of us are freestyling. Some of us, nobody has cracked the code to life. So take it easy on yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Kindly follow us on our social media pages at Maeve Sherrill on Instagram, at cycled_podcast on Instagram, or Maeve Sherrill1 on Twitter. I'd also like to know some of the things that you have learned in your 20s, or if you're older and you're watching, kindly tell us some of the things that we are probably worried about right now that will not matter in a few years. And see you in the next episode. Bye.